Well, the Episcopal Church has passed a resolution in support of sex change attempts at all ages, calling it a matter of religious liberty. The resolution, titled Addressing Restrictions on Access to Gender-Affirming Care, was passed by the Church's 80th General Convention, and the resolution goes on to call sex change operations part of their baptismal call. Well, joining us with reaction is today's company, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee and former Pennsylvania Senator and senior Newsmax political analyst Rick Santorum. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Couldn't think of two better men to speak about this with me today. Governor Huckabee, I'll start with you because you used to be a pastor. The Episcopal Church here is saying that this is a part of religious liberty.
It's absolutely stunning, Lindsay. I mean, I think it's demonic. When you're talking about mutilating little children and somehow saying that this is an act of God, the act of God was their creation. The act of God was the love that he had in making them as he did. And if they're confused about who they are, then they need counseling and they need assistance and they need prayer and they need a lot of things. But what they don't need is a surgical knife or some chemical castration that forever alters them and creates an irreparable damage. I'm just stunned that any denomination of any kind, even a denomination that says we don't even believe in God, somehow thinks that this is an appropriate thing to do for people.
Yeah, and for little kids, that is the real kicker here. But Senator, the resolution also calls for the Episcopal Church to advocate for access to gender-affirming care in all forms, they say. And they go on to say that it should be in medical, in any way. And this is part of our baptismal call to respect the dignity of every human being.
Yeah, the title of this resolution is that the Episcopal Church declares that God isn't perfect, that God makes mistakes, and that human beings should be able to, quote, fix those mistakes by any means necessary. With respect to children, it is child abuse to allow a child who has no ability to get an aspirin in school, but can actually work with people behind a parent's back to get chemically castrated. These are the kinds of things that we talk about a culture war. These are the kinds of things that people who believe in the truth and understand what the reality of people's sexuality need to stand up and fight for these children and fight against these organizations that are lining up with the woke culture to abuse these children.
Okay, so Governor, what would you say to people out there who would say, well, doesn't the church say that everyone is welcome? Doesn't Jesus say, come unto me, all who are weary and heavy laden, come as you are? Why aren't you allowing people to be accepted for who they want to be?
Oh, there's no issue about accepting people for who they are, to love people as they are. But the Bible also says, and these are the words of Jesus, male and female created he them, speaking of God. There are two genders. And if people are confused, again, I say that we should love people, help them through the confusion. And if as an adult they are determined to change their gender and to have surgery, if they want to do that when they're 25 years old, that's a different thing than when they're 7 years old. I've got grandchildren who are 7 and 8 and 9 years old. They don't know what they want for dinner. They're not sure whether they're a pirate or an astronaut. They don't know because they're children. We don't let them buy liquor. We don't let them have a driver's license. We don't let them, join the army or get married. There's a lot of things we don't let them do because they're not mature enough to make the decision. So to think that somehow children can make the decision of a life-altering surgical procedure that is irreversible, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Senator, oftentimes when things like this happen, I feel like other denominations just kind of let it go by the wayside. We don't stand with the Episcopal Church. This is not how we hear. But how do you feel that pastors or other denominations should handle this move by the Episcopal Church?
This is an opportunity for every person of faith, every leader of whatever denomination to stand up and affirm the truth of the gospel. That's their role. Their role is to not be welcomed into the circles of the New York Times and of the Hollywood crowd, or leading academics, which is understand was pushing this for the Episcopal Church, but to stand with the Lord and to stand by the gospel and the truth of the gospel. So that's not what's happening here. It is a betrayal to millions of Episcopalians around this country who are looking, and like most folks in this world, looking for real spiritual leadership, and what they're getting is woke counterculture.
Okay, sticking on the topic of wokeness and tolerance, just out, an elite girls' school in Nashville has implemented a new policy to allow applications from anyone who identifies as a female, not just biological female. Governor Huckabee, I mean, if I'm a parent and I'm trying to send my kid to an all-girls school, I mean, there's lots of reasons you do it, but I probably want them focused. And now you have anybody who identifies as a female can just show up.
Again, people have lost their minds. This is insane. If you've got a girls' school, girls go there. And if you start letting biological boys go to a girls' school and just pretend that they're girls, I can tell you right now, and I think the senator would probably agree, back when we were in high school, if you'd have told us that we can just imagine ourselves to be girls at the drop of a hat, and we can drop our own hat, after gym class, I bet every guy in my high school would have identified as female so they could go shower with the girls. I mean, that's how crazy this is. And in New Jersey, recently, a prison decided to let a male prisoner who identified as female go to a female prison. Mm-hmm. Guess what? A biological miracle happened. Women got pregnant from this female male. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Senator, I only have about 30 seconds left, but I'll give you the final word here.
Yeah, look, this is a real clarion call. You have all of these organizations. Remember, you look at these, they're all elite. The elite, Episcopalian denomination, the elite schools in Nashville. It is the woke elites that are trying to send a message, and common sense grassroots people have to start fighting. They can't just accept this. We have to push back.
Governor Huckabee, Senator Santorum, always love having you as our company. Thank you for being here with us, speaking truth to our audience. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you.
JP Morgan's CEO is warning that an economic hurricane is coming. Are you preparing? If you don't do anything, your 401k could be a 201k, and that is not good. So call our trusted friends at Lear Capital. For 25 years, Lear has helped investors own gold to protect against market chaos. It's a good thing. They can help you too. Get your information and up to $15,000 in bonus IRA gold. Just call this number, 800-880-4300. That's 800-880-4300.